His mission is to organize good networking events. He started back in the 80s with a family balloon business. He organized President Reagan's speech back in 1988. Now he owns a company that organizes conferences, trade shows, and Technology Expos. To learn more about his journey in the event business, listen to this episode of the Montrepreneur podcast. Okay, Vincent, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. Thanks for being one of my first guests on the Montrepreneur podcast.
Oh, good.
I would love to introduce you, but I think the best, you can introduce yourself. Who are you?
Well, you know me a little bit.
Sure.
You don't know my whole history. Been in business 41 years. In the 80s, I started business with my mother doing balloons. And we had a balloon shop. And I used to dress up as a gorilla and chickens and deliver balloons, a singing telegram. So I have a good personality, so I wasn't shy.
Okay.
And then we grew that to a business where we incorporated a costume business. We had large costumes to go rented. And one of the things that I was doing during that time, I was doing a lot of events, little events and stuff, and I met a lot of people. And one of them was a DJ. He said, Vincent, would you like to come to Waco, Texas and drop balloons on President Reagan? He's campaigning for Bush. And I said, sure. So I went to Waco and did it, and then he asked me to go to Little Rock. So what that was about was, we didn't really call it networking. It was just somebody knew somebody to do this. And then the costume shop, I got a referral. Somebody told American Tourister about me. And we sold them gorilla suits that you see back in the 90s in the commercials. The gorilla would jump on the luggage. So over time, I grew into an entertainment business where we did corporate events, catering, and grew that business. And eventually, I got into in 1996, I got into the ATM business, doing financial business with ATM machines, putting them all over Florida, and just kept reinventing myself into different technologies, into different types of revenue streams. And basically, we sold the balloon shop and the costume shop, and my mom retired, but I kept going with the ATMs, moved to Florida from Georgia, and lived in North Florida doing ATMs. And all the way down to Tampa and New Orleans. So over the years, in 2014, I went to Europe and traveled. I took my kids, adult kids, and traveled Europe in 15 and did it. And I decided to sell my company. I want to go back to Europe. I'm a British citizen too, Italian, American Italian. And I said, I like Europe. So I came to Germany in 2018. And started a business there with a large company as their partner to do festivals like Oktoberfest and other events. And 2020 came, which destroyed everything in the world. And so there were no events. And after 2 years of no events, I decided to move to Barcelona in October 22. And here I kind of retired, and I do consulting work, and then I said I go to a lot of different events, and I volunteer for a lot of them. So one of the events in WC last year, we went to a party they had, and this girl put on, this lady, and it was so cool, this side event, networking event, that I started a company to do that this year, 2 months ago. So we're going to focus on doing side events for technology or events, any type of big conference. We would partner with them to do events on the side where the sponsors come in and we set the room. Could be a room, a bar, a club, or whatever. So my history is diversified. I don't look at going backwards. I look at going forwards, and I look at opportunities. And that's what I do.
Good. It's a very funny story, from balloons to finance and to retiring.
It is. You never know where your path leads.
I didn't expect that with the balloons, but it's funny story.
Balloons, it got me to meet the president. It got me to, I'll send you the video. It was kind of funny. I was up top with a big bag of balloons. It was 10,000 balloons.
How old were you?
Gosh, I was 27.
Okay.
27. Yeah, something like that. Something in my early years. And we had the Secret Service there. They had the machine guns and all that, and they were standing there. And we had to pull the string. And I worked with the young Republicans, and they were pulling the string. but they didn't pull fast enough. So the balloons drizzled, and then all of a sudden, all of them, and the video shows falling on Reagan, and he looks up, and I know he said, what the? Because it just, like an avalanche of balloons. It should have came down like this way, but we just boomed them. And I'm going, oh God, I want to hear it. They loved it. They said it was great, but it was just so funny. So when you do these things, you have memories, but you have to look at your 5 years in the future and see what kind of business models. I mean, right now AI is the top thing on anybody's list to get into, even if it's just writing a program or an app or something easy. I mean, but I like doing events.
Cool. So you love business, you love events, but I mean, what really drives you to go this way? I mean, have you ever worked as an employee or thought about I'd say stopping doing events for a time or?
No, when I was doing the entertainment company, I actually DJ'd.
Okay.
And I used to DJ for a lot of schools, high schools, and I did a lot of clubs where they had their annual retreat. I had 5,000 kids, 12 years old, dancing. And I'll stop the music and I say, put your hands in the air like you don't care. And they're all doing this. And I said, I am the king. But no, I DJ'd. And and then I started doing the events and big events, like 100,000 people. But now I focus on just doing a simple events. It's not simple, but I looked at how to do an event with where we don't have to have too much invested in it, like the clubs or any bar will give me a bar for the night because I bring revenue in.
Yeah.
So if I bring in 200 people, they love it on a Wednesday night. They don't have that. So I looked at opportunities and I said, this could be a big opportunity because every sponsor wants to get their name out and they want to brand that. So background is always been, be able to take something and make something.
Okay, cool. What were the biggest lessons you ever learned from all of the businesses you started?
You're going to fail. Mm-hmm. You're going to fail in business, and if you don't get up and figure out.
How many times did you fail?
I did maybe 3 times. It didn't. Some things didn't go the way they should, but it's not the business went under. It's just you failed. And you knew that you had to reinvent the business. You had to grow. In the entertainment company, there was 2 different competitors. One of them wanted to sell, and the price was not bad. And I said no. And then he bought more and became a bigger competitor. Mm-hmm. So if I would have bought him and got all his clients for the measly $30,000, I would have been fine. And eventually I said, no, I won't do this anymore. So I sold everything off of that business, and I moved to Florida because some people hold on to a business too long, and get stagnated, or you can't grow, or you just get you have no one to help you but yourself, and you have to go, what can I do? And my friend had ATM machines, and I said, oh, okay, and he says, all we got to do is put them in a store. You make this much money. You don't have to do anything. They run themselves. Yeah. Okay, so that grew that business. So when you fail, you have to reinvent yourself, fix the issues, or move on.
Well, this is a good point. You talked about the exit strategy, like when to sell or when to exit. I also made this failure many times. I didn't know when exactly to say, okay, no, it's enough. Either I have to stop investing in the business or sell it. How can you decide it? Which criteria do you take in mind when you think about exit?
Yeah, exit. It's a big word. Yeah. Right now they're doing courses on exit strategies. It comes a time when you have, your company is stagnated, or its competitors are bigger than you, or you're just tired of doing it. And you want to retire or do something else. Okay. And you have to figure out what's your company worth, what's your value, who are you going to sell it to, or are you just going to close it? How are you going to take care of your employees? How are you going to help them? It's a big companies or mom and pop. It doesn't really matter. It comes a time you can't hold on to something.
Yeah, sure.
You can't be. Business is business. It's not personal. Oh, it's a family business for 200 years. Well, sell it. You don't want to do it. Sell it. Don't worry. They're not there anymore. The family don't sell it, because if you just hold on for a family, you're going to drive it into the ground and you're going to lose it. Sell it where you can. So exit is very important because one day people have to exit. Example, in Germany, I lived on the Moselle where the wineries were, and I met a guy that owned 4 vineyards. And we went to his place. He showed us how he made wine. He says, my daughters are married. They don't want to do this. I have no sons. I'm 10 generations of doing this, and I'm going to have to sell to another, winery because there's no one to do it. And it comes a time when you have to make a decision like that.
Sure.
So,
what was like the biggest decision in this regard that you made? I mean, did you like decide once you have to sell your business, and or you didn't?
You mean like business?
Like, I mean, you just wanted to close the business. And
there's no thrill.
No. Okay. Yeah.
People thrive on the thrill of business. If you're a stockbroker, you thrive every day on moving money and making money. Or you're a boxer, you train and you thrive on this. But one day you got to retire. You can't be king forever. You can't be the top. Or your business is just to a point where you're going, I see the world different now. I want to retire. I want to go travel. I want to do this. Because time is your enemy. It's going to sneak up on you when you're in your late 60s, 70s, and you're not able to travel as much. So you have to realize that some part of your life, you either turn it over to your kids or your partner buys you out. Somewhere you have to exit, and it comes to a point where you just wake up and say, today's the day. I made a decision.
Okay, cool. What's next for you? I mean, you came to Barcelona. You told me you are doing that as a retirement business. But what's next for you?
It's I used to work all the time. 15 hours a day, every day. I kind of don't do that in Spain. I kind of sleep late and watch Netflix. Barcelona in general makes you relax. It makes you not. If you can work and you can struggle, or you can work and you can relax. It's all how you do what you do. And the next thing is try to see how this business. When I do a business, I don't do it like I'm going to do a business. I do a business. I make it work, and then I can see the advantage of all these different side events, all these conferences from Dubai to Toronto to Singapore. They all have side events. They all have a networking event. It could be a big business. Or it could just be doing Barcelona, doing 20 a year and be happy. If you do it for the money, then you're never ever going to be a good business, because you do it because you want to do something and build something from the scratch up, and that is the challenge that makes it fun to do business.
Okay,
we make money, but it's more of I did this.
Yeah, I understand. But when you do business, I mean, you have like this principle, building something from scratch, but a lot of people talk about purpose. Do you also think about that? I mean, do you do business if it has some purpose for you? Or
it does have a purpose. One, it makes me feel good that I can make people happy and network. This is not a party where you get drunk. It's a party where you actually, beer does bring people to business. Unfortunately, it's what it is. Or, they go network and they drink spirits or whatever. So I look at it, I'm bringing people together, and they're happy, they enjoy themselves, they're networking, they may benefit, they may grow their company, may get some investors. So what makes me happy is doing that. We also are looking at Andrew Funk is a guy in Barcelona, and talking to him about partnering with him on his charity and giving him some proceeds for the business to help him help the homeless. So you have to always give back. You don't want to take, and you want to make sure that everything you do is everybody is compliant and happy doing this. Don't ever do a business because I can make all this money. Do a business because how's it going to help people?
Okay.
I mean, you hire people that helps people. You give back to charities that helps people. You bring people together that network and motivate. That helps people. So
this is a good point. I mean, like providing value to people. A lot of people don't think about that. I mean, when I started my first business, I thought, okay, if I built like a good technology that do like some good things, I mean, that would be successful. So I developed the technology without like knowing if the people wants that, and I failed. So I developed the product without knowing if the people really, or if there is any value for the people inside. I said I want to do this failure again. I did it again, and now I'm asking myself, like, very often, I know I have to provide a value, but how to decide if the things you're doing have real value for enough people to build a business from?
Yeah, value is important. It's credibility and value. To build something and do something, what is your value back to the people? And it depends. If your technology, your value is the programming that you give companies that are unique for them. My business value is giving them, the sponsors, a value. They want to know branding, marketing, banners, digital, promoting it, and also networking with the people at the conference, at the event.
Yeah.
And the people that come to the event, the value is to meet the sponsors, to meet the investors. So you have to have a value. You can't do anything without a value because it's worthless.
Yeah,
if you didn't learn anything.
But the question is, how can you define if what you are doing provides a real value? Because sometimes it provides value, or you think it provides value, but a lot of people don't see that value or are not willing to pay for that.
Right. So you're asking, how do I know if my event's going to have any value?
Yes, that people are willing to pay for that.
Well, the events are free, so, and the sponsors pay. So I show the sponsors a list of all the people that come. They can network. They can also, we encourage the guests. The events are very unique. So it's a free event, and each sponsor has beer tickets, but you don't know who the sponsor is. So you have to go around and network and find the sponsor to get the ticket. And then you start sharing your LinkedIn and WhatsApp.
It's a nice play.
So it's like a treasure hunt. So you're right. You have the sponsors want to know, did I get a value for what I paid? And yes, they will get a value because they'll get to meet most of the people, and they'll get to, their brand is there. And then hopefully people that are looking for that product will contact them.
Okay.
We encourage people, the guests, to come in and said, find the sponsors, talk to them. It's not just about getting free beer. That runs out when usually the tickets run out around 11. Everybody stays to 3 drinking and and networking.
Okay, cool. And how do you find the people and the sponsors?
So we work with European Blockchain Convention coming up in 2 weeks. They have a list. You put your event on there, and it shows the networking events, and we're on there. And we use Luma as the platform. And then we put up a post on LinkedIn. I use other people post for me. I also use a couple of technology sites here in Barcelona where you can post all your events free. And like last week I had 52, Friday I had 82, Monday I had 110, today I have 140, and capabilities 135 with a wait list up to...
okay, cool.
So we'll have 200 at least by the end of the week, maybe 250 by the time of the event, and usually 30% don't come, and then the rest will come and go. And then the event I went to did the same thing. I didn't reinvent this event the way the tickets. I just went to the best networking event I ever had, and I said, this is the kind of event I want to do. When there's a line out the door and the room's packed, and you're trying to find tickets. Yeah. And it was really cool. And I said, this, not changing anything. I'm going to the same location, doing the same thing, but just trying to build that model to be able to do it for not just technology, home shows, car shows.
But how do you position yourself on the market if you are completely new and you're still sold out of tickets?
Well, we don't really sell out. We have a wait list, but people that come, we tell you can't get in past midnight, so you have to come.
Okay.
So if there's a waiting list. They all know that. Whoever signs up first. Any event you go to on a side event, one, they charge. And some are very boring. Some are just standing around drinking. Some are riding the boat. Some this. So you have to look at where you want to go and who the sponsors are. Metropolitan is a sponsor. And Jana Recycle's a sponsor. And Uniscale is a sponsor. There are 3 different companies that are partners with me on this. And so we look at other sponsors to come in that want to reach out to this this industry, these people that are coming here.
And is it only in Barcelona, or are you going to expand?
We will. You always have to expand.
Yeah.
But you want to do at least 12 events before you even think about that. 3 events, you want to make sure you want to still do it. You want to have some. I mean, this is not a business model where you have a office and all that. This is going to be working at the house, so you don't have a lot of investment. It's a lot of time, and it's not getting people; it's getting sponsors, and trying to get sponsors to do a small 500 fee with 50 tickets, or 2,500 with 200 tickets. Depends on what they want to do and how they want to brand themselves. They want personal table, banners. We do all that.
Good.
So you have to, I go to these events and I look. I don't change a model that's making business.
Yeah, so you're just like copying, but you're
just copy.
But this is a good thing. I mean, if you want to start a brand new business, you're completely new in the whole industry. You never started a business before. What's the easiest business model to start with without burning a lot of money or having a lot of
the easiest business model is look at what you want to do and who's doing it, and see how they're doing it, and see what their clientele and how big their LinkedIn is, or how many Instagram. You look at what are they doing. Okay. The business model. I wouldn't go into anything technology unless it was AI, and it had to be a certain field of AI, because I don't think everything Web3 and blockchain and crypto is still there. Crypto is always going to go up and down. Crypto's out. People, you don't even focus on crypto anymore because the banks are going to own that, BlackRock and all them. Blockchain is always there because it moves data, and Web3 is always there. So what are the only other advantages is AI, which is in all 3 of those. And then you look at what do you want to do. You may want to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something in technology, but not directly into the programming part. So what do? Are you going to be a recruiter and have people? Or are you going to offer them other services that it's hard to do technology. In Barcelona, it's technology everywhere, but there's a lot of opportunities in other business models that you can piggyback off of that, like I'm doing, which don't cost a lot. And there's hundreds of, probably 500 events a year here that are huge, that are big. Smart cities coming up, MWC, Tomorrow World, everything from aviation, all these events. And some of them are free tickets. Yep. And you go meet people. And so we'll go around and meet all the sponsors the first day of each show, and we will share them our information. If you want to do a side event, you want to do this, that's how you network. Yeah, so you actually define a gap in the market, and then you just improve the concept and going there and talk to people. Yeah, and, you find something. The lady that does this event that I went to, she's been doing it 13 years. She does 3 events. She makes enough money. She don't really care. She does 1 event here and 1 in London, 1 in America. So that's good for her. That's all she needs. So I look at it doing, how many events can I do that actually are profitable, and which events key to the conferences. So then I need to find sponsors. So I have sponsors, a craft brewery, a non-alcoholic company as my sponsor in product. So there's no cash, it's just product. Then I wrote to the head of DAM, the beer company, the head of marketing last night. He linked up with me yesterday on LinkedIn, and I asked him, this would be a great brand for you, business to beer with your brand. And we definitely need to get one of those sponsors, because eventually I'm going to invest in these machines that dispense beer. You just tap and it pours the beer for you. And I want to have sponsors. And I want to use those at outside events that we do for technologies. So when I grow, which I will, I'll have a tent. I'll rent those. I rent the DJ. I get the food caterer come in, and we do these events. Nice. Yeah. Make them bigger as we grow. But if all you're going to do is, they call it a side hobby, then if that makes you enough money, you're happy, do it. Yeah, good. Yeah. You built businesses in America, in many countries in Europe. Which country was the best for business, or had the best infrastructure? Well, America has the best infrastructure. It's easy to. So why moving to Europe? Well, I moved to Europe because I want to retire and do some stuff on the side. But America has the best. You can travel to any country without any state without any problems. And it's easier to do festivals. But then you look at Germany with a tremendous amount of festivals, thousands of them, every type. Then you look at Spain. And with my ATM business in Germany, it was quite good because there's only me and 3 other companies. In America, there was 1,000 people, competitors. That's why I sold. So I had a niche. Now that's over with. In the beer to business company, I'm never going to run out of technology or any event to do my business. So you ask which is better? They're both good, but Barcelona in general offers more technology in one area than Austin. Austin would be the only place. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I've never been there, but I mean, didn't
Austin's
expect
huge
that.
for technology, but they do some events, but we have every day, every evening is some kind of fintech or some kind of tech event. 20 people, 100 people. So you have a market here.
Okay.
Not just for what I do, selling shirts, selling this. There's so much, everybody wants swag for the convention. So everybody wants something. You can do a good market here.
Is it like about the competition, that the competition is higher in America, or is it like about the market here is better? Or?
It's a better market because you have more of the tech events that would make the money.
Okay.
You know, if you're dealing in technology, a lot of the exchanges and the companies that are at these events have a lot of cash. They make, so they want to invest. They spend in $150,000 on a booth. They want to have shirts. They want to have a side event. They want to have a dinner. They want all these things for the high-end clients or their guests. So Barcelona is the city that has the best events. I would also do Valencia. There's a couple of big ones. There's one coming next month, 14,000 people. Then I would look at maybe Madrid, not as much, but Dusseldorf, Germany has lots of events. And then London has a lot of events. So you have a good diverse market, but you don't want to expand until you conquer one area. You've got to conquer Barcelona. Then we go off to other cities, or I find...
Yeah, then it's easier.
Yeah, I find people that do it for me as a partnership. I mean, but yeah, I like it here. And I think it's a good opportunity.
Good, nice. Which advices do you have like for new people who are getting into business right now? Maybe the top 3 advices.
One, have a really good business plan, and also on that plan, look at your trends for the next 5-10 years. Where is that market going? You know, people thought some of the technology was going to be around forever, and it's not. I mean, so, you know, a lot of programmers or engineers don't have jobs because they were in that field that's no use no more, and they got to be retrained. So I would have a good business plan. Second, I have capital. I mean, some people start with little, knowing it's going to take a lot. But then you have to find investors or family members that loan you the money, or somehow do it as you work your real job and do that on the side, you know. And then third, you know, you have your 3 different things starting a business. You know, think about your exit plan. If it doesn't succeed, what are you going to do? Don't quit your job until you're actually making money.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at, do you want a storefront? Gosh, no. It costs money to rent and electric. Rent you a co-op place. You can rent it by month and not be there. You don't have to go next month. You don't want to have the money. So rent somewhere where you can get an address, you can work. Don't spend money that you don't need to spend, and try to focus on how to grow your company. If there's 3 different people that you know doing the same thing, maybe merge together and do a joint venture.
Yep.
Because the more, I mean, there's a big pie. Do you want all of it? You want a little piece of it? A little piece to keep it going for years. But people have to think of what that business is going to do in the next 10 years. Technology changes every year.
This is true. I mean, I experienced that like a lot. I mean, 3 years ago, like the IT market was like exploding. I mean, they
laid everybody
IT
off.
People everywhere, and they just laid it off.
You think, why would Google lay off people? I go, Google's $1 trillion company, but they don't need them.
Yeah.
And it's not AI taking over the job. You have to have AI to program the computers to do AI. But it's
why do you think then that happened?
Well, you had too many people doing the same job that 10 people can do.
Yeah, true.
My son worked for a company in D.C. He was trained, and they hired him, worked for them at their company, and had an office, and he moved to Washington, D.C., and one day they came in and fired everybody, kept him. He was doing 6 people's jobs for 4 months, and they had to let him go because Google let him go. They were training people to work for Google and Microsoft, and Google said we're not hiring. And it's killed that company. How can you predict that? You should have known that even the biggest can fall. They outsource. I mean, you can outsource so easy. A guy called the other day, a friend of mine, said, I need a program that does cloud this, and it's 600, 800 a day. And I said, gosh, I can do that. He says, really? I said, no, but let me have one day. I'll just do it for one day. Give me 800 euros. And he said, that's common. A friend of mine goes, oh, that's common. They outsource those people. People make good money if they really know their skill. And I'm going, then why hire people? Because you don't have to pay social taxes. You just pay them. They pay the tax, and then that's their job. So the world changed since COVID. They don't need to have buildings with people. You can live in Singapore or Tahiti and work and do the same thing.
What do you think where this is going?
Yeah, so where it's going. That's why DC, my son, he said half the offices are empty. They can't, they just, here, take them back, the banks. It's because they found out that after COVID that people can work at home just more effectively. Yeah.
And then you have like the competition on the global market.
And you cut a lot of your salary. I mean, not all of your expenses with a building. Yeah. I think it's not a bad thing. I think people do need sometimes to come into the office once a week or so to be with their friends or their other employees. But laying people off is just common. It's going to be a big layoff soon when there's going to be a technology bubble bust soon. I mean, it's just too much. Yeah. And the only way to clean it, it's like a fire. You burn the woods away, you get fresh growth. I remember the housing boom, housing crash. I remember the internet when 1990 and everything. Everybody was buying computers. I bought a $10,000 PC. I was going, God, it was so expensive. And I bought a domain name, bought 2 of them. I paid like $400. One of them I sold for $20,000. Okay. And it was Fun World Entertainment. And this company called me, said, "You want to sell it? $10,000." I said, "No, give me 20." "Okay, we'll give you 20. And they still operate. They're out of Dubai. Good. Yeah, and I said, I should have bought a whole bunch of domains. I should have, but buy Ford.com or Ford something. You should have bought something back then, because who knew what, a simple get it would be popular, or any name. So when you have a business, you have to look at that too. What's 5-10 years of your life and your business life or your job? You never know. In America, they can fire you that day. Here, they have to. But it's still, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. How can you? They market that. Or they sell this idea that it's like more secure to stay like in the company that I'm starting on a business. But I had the experience that it's like almost like the exact same. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's people that get laid off is terrible because they have families and jobs, and it's hard to get jobs, and the government can't support people. So now, if you live here as a digital nomad, or if you have your visa or whatever, you still have to pay in to get your health insurance for your family. So you have to find some job, waitering or something. But then you go, what are my skills? But if you did get laid off and you had to go be a server or work at Media Mart or something, it gives you time to reevaluate yourself. Sure. And say, was I really go back programming, or could I open a little booth on the beach and sell Cokes? Yeah. Well, I'll do the beach because you can make $100,000 in the summer and close it up and go to some other country and live for 6 months. Yeah. What is a sustainable business? That's the whole key. I think mine is, because unless the expos stop again, there's always side events. Yeah. There are always like people who want to connect. Yeah. But this is the question on you. In 5 to 10 years, where do you see your business or yourself? I don't see me working after, what is it, 2030, yeah. Probably doing consulting or just laying on the beach in Thailand. I don't know. I mean, I've done my planning. I have all these years of working, so I'm different than a lot of people. I do see a future, but I see myself right now as taking every day and learning from this day what I'm doing and how I'm going to be the next day. Because you can plan the next day, but it will change. You don't know what's happening today. And I got a bunch of meetings that could change, and this affect the next day. So when you're into technology or young, and you need to plan your future out. So my future is just to keep relaxing and enjoying life and doing little side jobs. That's what old people do when they retire. They make birdhouses.
No, it's good, like if you define that, because a lot of people like ask me like 5 years ago, where do you expect yourself like in 5 years? And I said, okay, yeah, 50 mil in the bank.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have like a really plan. It was like not realistic. It was like, it's like wishful thinking. And I didn't have a real plan. And now I ask myself, okay, where do I see myself in 5 years? And when I think about that, I do really like set goals that I am able to achieve,
Yeah. It's got to be a goal that you can achieve.
Yeah.
Nobody can say, if you look at yourself 5 years and you have money, then that's not a goal. Where are you going to be? You want to be in 5 to 10 years secure.
Yeah.
You want to have some money, that's 6 months of money to take you if something happens. You want to have investments that you don't have to work. You want to own your house outright. You don't want to have debt. Those are things you want to look at, how to achieve these goals where you are secure. When money is not evil, it's a tool that you use. So when people realize that you have to be secured yourself in the future, so you don't have to worry. When people worry, it's usually money.
Yeah, it's
when
true.
people have fights at home, it's usually money. Everything comes money because all the bills come in. But if you sit down and look at life, what are you spending on and what are you doing? How can you save? Or you have kids, well, you just have to adjust. But 10 years, you set a goal that I want to be secure. That's the key, security.
Yep.
Everybody wants to, own that house and have money in the bank so they can do some things. I know a lot of people in their 80s or 90s that retired with lots of money, millions, from working at like Ford Motor Company. They just saved up their 401. They saved money up. They paid their house off. They were brought up in a generation that's what we do. The 90s generation and up is just spend. 2000 generation up is don't have any money to spend. I mean,
world is changing. World is really changing.
It's changing where you're not going to be secure because unless you start saving something up, because you can't rely on.
We're not saving. I mean, investing maybe.
Investing is true, but I was just going to say, what if the government collapses, or if you invest your money and it collapses?
Yep.
I mean, invest in gold. Do you hold the gold, or is it stored for you? What do you invest in? The only thing that you can invest in that would never go away is land. Land is here. You buy a piece. You buy an apartment building or a house and rent it out.
Yeah.
You have land. Land is valuable. It never goes away.
Yep.
And people will tell you that it's the best investment because you get a piece of dirt. One day somebody's going to say, I want to buy that dirt because I want to build a building.
Sure.
You just have to hold on to it for 10, 20 years. So people do that. But you invest, yes, in certain things, but are you smart enough to know when to sell? That's the key. And people need to be thinking of their 10 years from now. 2040, it could be, the world's going to be totally different. I'm sure we're going to have flying taxis, because automated ones, because it's easier to get around. Yeah. They have them now. I'm just saying is that you're going to see these things, and
I think you
taxi drivers are out of business.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things are going to be out of business, but the question is, how are you going to fix the problems in the society? Are we going like to have like a basic income globally or whatever? I don't think that scares me.
I don't think nobody's going to give us the income. I think you're going to work, but
No, I don't think it's going to work. No, I don't think it's a good idea.
I think you're going to have to work. I don't think the government's going to give you money.
No.
They're probably going to stop giving money to people. But you can, sustainable communities is where farming is going to probably be the big thing, big investment where you can just live and work, and you grow this food, you trade it, you get food, and you live on a barter system, and that would be sustainable. But you look at, remember when drones first came out, they were toys. Now they built for everything from military to this, and it's killing a lot of businesses. So like you said, taxis will be obsolete in 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to be remote controlled for one, or flying cars, and so you're going to have what are you going to do? What you have to look at. We won't be carrying phones for sure. We have something out here, a hologram comes up off a watch, and you just talk to somebody, because why have a phone? I mean, technology is there now. It's just it costs too much to do it. So, plan ahead 5-10 years, but try to get it where this will happen. What is happening now? And look back 5-10 years. What was happening? And it's total. If we didn't have Bitcoin, you wouldn't have all this technology. Because Bitcoin paved the way for the blockchain and Web3, and now we're here. If that was never invented, you probably wouldn't have what we have now, because crypto.
Which technologies exactly?
Well, crypto drove technology. Mm-hmm. It built this whole system of blockchain and conferences, and it made tokenizations. It made all this possible. And if you take one thing in history, a thread, and pull it out, then that would fade down to it. You still have it, but you won't be as big as we are. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at most of the business here working with blockchain, Web3, but blockchain was used for crypto. Web3 1 was crypto. And so you look at what started something. The internet was just a bunch of scientists using it to communicate from, Stanford to MIT.
Yeah.
And now, I still don't know who owns the internet. I mean, it's like cables. I mean, who owns the internet? Is there one box with a big computer? I don't know. It's like there's the internet out there. It comes from Starlinks and everything else. So that grew. And so how did that come about? These scientists hadn't did that, we wouldn't have internet. Well, it probably would, but it took years.
It will take a little bit
longer.
Yeah.
But you look at your business now, look 5-10 years back, and see where you started from, and have you achieved those goals? If you haven't, think about the next 5 years and have an exit strategy. Because if you can't fulfill your goals, it's time to find something else.
I wanted to ask you as a last question, if you have like any last advice, but I think you already did.
Yeah, I mean, just don't believe that you're going to succeed in everything you do. Mm-hmm. You're going to fail, you have to get back up. But you have to look at what is going on in your life. If you want that 5 years to be where you want to be, halfway to where you want to retire at 40 or retire at 80.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.